Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Sarah. Today's date is April 7th, 2020. We have with us Durdan, Holly,
Hello.
and Alex. She's cooking at the moment, so her mic is muted. But Holly wanted to start us off with the nice story.
Oh,
So,
well, it was short, but it was really vivid. And I'm pretty sure it was from a parallel timeline. Um, so I'm out back and there's some grasses, like ornamental grasses that needed clipping before they start growing. I'm thinking, a couple days before I got to go out there and snip those off. So the day before, the night before I did that, I had this really different vision. And I was out there on my hands and knees and I was just clipping this grass, ornamental grasses down and I'm on my hands and knees facing the house. And I've got a whole forest behind me within 30 feet,
nice.
real close. So I feel something nudge my butt. And I turn around, sit on it, and look up into a buck, a big buck standing over me. No, buck, a deer, big male deer with, big male deer, tons of horns. And he just was looking at me, like really close. And I wasn't fearful of any at all, but I said, is there something I can help you with? And telepathically, he said, one of my does is having problems birthing, and I feel you can help her.
Nice.
He sensed the healer in me. So he goes, jump on. Right? So I hopped on and grabbed hold of his horns and, he kind of carefully made it deep into the forest, and I have no sense of direction. So, I didn't know where we were going, but sure enough, we get back to the herd. The other does run away because I'm human and she's laying on the ground. So, I luckily, needless to say, I had to put my arms up in there and feel around, and it was backwards. It was breech. And I managed to get it out, and when I got it out, the umbilical cord was wrapped really tight around its neck. So, I'm covered with ooh and goo and blood, and, but I get it all unwrapped and massage its neck, and then I do the healing thingy, and then it starts breathing and all's good, and at that point, I'm just still looking, I'm just covered with ick, but the buck says, okay, I'll walk you back now. And he just says, grab a horn, and he just slowly walked me back because he kind of sensed I didn't know how to get back from where I was. I would be lost. And it was so vivid. I mean, smells, tastes, all of it, all the senses were just like I was right there. Totally.
You were in the moment.
And somewhere like the next day, I think I can't remember, but there was some synchronicity that proved that really did happen. I don't remember what, but I do recall that. So the worlds are folding over there.
Of course.
They're crossing over these timelines.
Oh, that's a lovely vision.
Yeah, it was actually the first time that I can remember ever being called from the nature realm to assist with anything. They usually ever came to me and said, we'll help you with whatever. Like I had this bug one day that I could understand what it was saying. It was pretty wild. But, anyways, it was just very interesting and unusual, and wanted to share that. a happy thing.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a lovely story.
Yeah, let's start out on a happy note.
Welcome, Eve. Eve, welcome to the show, the event. Um, oh, maybe the audio needs to come on first. Okay. Ah,
It's on, but I don't know what their device is, so I don't know if it's working or not.
okay. It's wonderful when nature can come to us. I had a similar event happen to me some years back, and I told Dad about this one. You know those little lightning bugs? If they're black, they're hard, and they have like green eyes.
I've never seen one up close. I mean, it's been years since I.
It's a palmetto bug, isn't it? The palmetto?
It's not palmetto bugs. The palmetto bugs are the roaches, but these are like little hard beetle type bugs.
Oh no.
But they're fireflies.
Not exactly fireflies.
Oh, okay, then there's
Their
something
butts
else.
don't light up. Their eyes light up.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes. So it was very funny because I had a dream that I became one of those little bugs one time. And we were just walking along, and I don't know what was around me, but I had to tell somebody something that was laying on a bed or whatnot. Dan, do you remember this? And it was strange because I had never thought of myself that I can become the bug itself. And I can look at my partner. There was another bug that was there, and it was my partner, and we were both just together, like just crawling around. And then I woke up the next day. Do you know what I see in my physical reality? The lightning bug. And if you try to catch it, it'll literally do some sort of snapping thing with its body. And I was like, you can't be inside the house. You have to go outside. And it kept snapping at me. And I'm thinking, what is going on? So it's strange how they come to us in visions or dreams. You know, it's very interesting in that aspect. But I had never seen the world from a bug's point of view before that time. It was very funny. So yeah, very interesting how the natural world is starting to communicate with us in very strange and wonderful ways. So yeah, that was very lovely. Uh, Dan, Eve, are you there?
Everybody's muted.
Yeah, I'm here. I haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah, your story just reminded me of that idea, how we can start having like dreams or perceptions where we are either helping or becoming part of nature. So I like that a lot. Anybody else has anything to say?
What? Animal stories.
Yeah, animal stories.
It's the animal story day.
Yeah, any story day, really. Have anything you want to share, Dan?
I don't know. Let me see. What's coming to me? One time I was out in the woods. I was hiking in the woods back when I was in Missouri because I would scout out places where I could fly kites from. And I was scouting this one place out, and I was in the woods, and I was just walking around. It was weird. I was finding all these weird sinkholes. I thought, well, I don't want to fall in one of those. I'm just being careful walking around. I thought, you know, wow, this is a really neat spot right here. I found a really cool spot. There's a little opening in the trees, and it was just neat. And it was kind of like, so there's the normal woods, and then there was this little opening, and the grass was, I mean, it was only about 25 feet around, but it was a neat, just little grassy area right there. And so, wow, this would be a great place to like just hang out for a minute. So I was hanging out for a minute. And I was just enjoying this. Hey, no, wow, this is just a really neat space. And I was just really getting in appreciation for the space. And this owl came flying by. Go, wow, it's so weird. So where'd he come from? Because you don't hear them. You know, they're silent when they flap. You don't hear them. It's just like, oh, you can't see them coming unless you just see them coming. But yeah, this owl just showed up. Well, sometime later, I'm having this weird dream that I'm an owl and that I see this guy standing in the woods, but I'm seeing like his energy and stuff. And that's why I flew by him, was to see, you know, why he was looking so different from the other people who normally come in the woods. Because other people who come in the woods, they have like a different agenda, and this guy was just standing in there enjoying everything. I thought, oh, that was me standing there. You saw. So I had a dream of being the owl that saw me standing there in the woods. It was so weird, so interesting. And then it makes me remember, you know, it's weird, you know, the telepathic connections we have with things that we have forgotten about. You know, so sometimes it's good to say, oh, hi, little critter, whatever you are on the ground over there. Hope you're having a good day. You know? Or we'll get out somewhere, see some birds. Hey, birds, you look nice today. Oh, look, you're all flying together. That's neat. Kind of like it. Keep it up. Keep up the good work, whatever. So, yeah, it's just weird stuff like that. Yeah, that stuff's good, though. That's the good stuff when that's going on. So, anyway, yeah, there's a little animal story for you.
That was a wonderful story, Dan. Ali wants to say something.
I have another story. I got out my journal because I knew there was, well, always a lot, but it was on the 30th when I was sleeping. It was a huge, huge download that came to me. And for the first time, then I could remember, after it was downloaded, it actually unzipped, you know, like a zip drive, zip file. It unzipped, and once that happened, my consciousness shot out of my body, way out into space, and my consciousness split into untold amounts of fractals. But for the first time ever, I felt every fractal, their consciousness, where they were, what they were feeling, what they were seeing, all at the same time. And the part that I inhabited, that the main part, was instantaneously put on this planet. And it was unusual looking. And there was this little being about 2 feet high that walked up to me as I'm just standing there looking around. And it was Pikachu. Pikachu. Like, I don't even do that stuff. But that name I knew from years ago, from when my son was younger. And I said, are you Pikachu? And he goes, yes. He goes, welcome to my planet. You know, and then I was popped back into my body again. But that was random, very random, you know, and I just knew it was real. Absolutely. I mean, I had no connection to that gaming realm at all. You know, I'm surprised I even knew its name, you know, but it just verified. But I have to say that was a huge step for me anyways, to inadvertently reach that level of consciousness where I could feel tons of my other soul fractals living and experiencing at the same time. So has anyone else had that particular experience before?
Yes, many times.
Really? Oh, do tell.
So for those who don't know what a fractal is, it's the concept that everything is a if you look at a tree, and it has branches, and it has stems with leaves on it, and each leaf looks the same. They're all a part of each other, but they have a different reality to each other simply because they are at a distance or location that is different from the original branch or the original stem. So if you have lots of stems and you have lots of leaves, they're all part of the same tree, but they're all living different realities. Okay. So those are basically what fractals are. And we as humans, we are, for the most part, very much fractalized in energy, in frequency, in reality, and in consciousness. And so basically, we're able to live or connect to different aspects of ourselves because we are all part of the same soul concept or the same soul energetic force. So we can have many lives or many lifetimes, many different realities living at the same time. And we can connect to it with the thought or frequency of what it is we're feeling or what it is we are perceiving at the moment in time. So basically, that's what a fractal is. Different aspects of ourselves in different moments in time or reality. It can even just be consciousness. Okay? So I've had many times where I have connected to other frequencies of other fractals of myself, of my soul self. So yeah, it's really interesting when you get into that sort of play in reality where you can become someone in another star system or someone in another timeline, the past or the future. It becomes quite of a dance in time or in distance.
Sarah, there was one thing also that was different than before. Whenever I astral traveled, I would always feel myself, traveling down the Merkaba, like this energetic highway. But
Yes.
This time it was instant.
Very instant.
It was just, yep, that was what was hugely different. And I think from now on, I'll be able to just instantaneously go where I think versus traveling through the Merkaba.
That is correct. Or you can still travel down that Merkaba timeline or loop, or they would call it like a wormhole. You can still do that if you want some fun.
Yeah, go the slalom, I guess you call that. The roller coaster.
The roller coaster, yeah. You can still do that. You can do that if you want to have like the roller coaster ride of it, but you can also do it in an instant, in a second, with a thought and a frequency of what you're looking for. So
Big difference. Big difference. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah. One way is not better than the other. It's just what you choose to do.
Just different, yeah.
But that's lovely. Oh, so you're playing in rounds and
Oh, often. Often.
Yes,
I have journals full of this play. Who I met, what I did, where I went, the whole thing.
Hello, Zirak.
Hello?
Yes, we
Hello.
can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you?
Doing well. Did you want to add to the story? Or your sound is in and out?
Excuse me, my internet connection is not stable. My name is Zerki Sana and I'm from
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
Have you. So then,
Thank you so much. Thank you for
you said?
it's nice to meet you.
Nice
So
to
thank
meet
you. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Dan, have you had any experiences with uh, aspects or?
Yeah, but I'm not going to go into that right now. That'd be a whole can of worms.
Oh, well, we like whole cans of worms.
No, I'm going to leave those worms stay put. Let them stay put this time.
Okay.
But I thought it was neat how Holly described her expansion there. That was pretty interesting. I like that.
Yeah. Zirak, have you ever had any experience like that?
I don't know if he was here to hear it.
Oh,
Nodded.
oh, his volume went down again.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
I can hear you, Alex.
Okay. So I had, going back to the animal situation, I have one of my totems, I guess it's called, is a mountain lion.
Nice.
And so he is one of the ones, I mean, I have plenty, but I think this is the one that I remember the most because it's so physical. When I'm in in a space where, because I'm always in my head, right? I mean, I'm just very analytical person and analyze everything and I overthink everything. So when I'm in that space for a long period of time, that means I disconnect completely from spirit world and I just become, this material person. He gets super upset. Like he gets super angry with me and he's the only one that can keep me in check. And how I know it's him is because he will scratch my back. So I'll wake up and I'll have 3 marks on my left shoulder. So on the left shoulder, I wake up with like excruciating pain. And then when I go into the mirror in the bathroom, I see these 3 long marks with like nails. And I know he came to visit. And so I immediately, usually that night, go into meditation and go visit. And then I get back into grounding and connecting to earth and the bugs and the animals and all that stuff. But he will manifest himself in that way. And then I can't even scratch myself because it's like right on your back. And and the scratches look like 3 claws and then pulled down. Like somebody came from behind me and just gouged me. That's how he communicates with me. It's the weirdest thing. And then the other one where you were talking about going into like space and becoming something else.
Yeah.
I've never really seen anything where I could describe, because I don't do gaming and I'm not into any of that stuff. I know my kid is, but he's not. I don't know. He plays different games, and if they were to ever ask me describe what he plays, I would have no clue. That's how oblivious I am to what he plays. But I do, when I go into a different realm or different reality up in space, it feels more, and just to associate with it so you guys can see where I'm heading, is more like Star Wars situation, where it's like people, they look like people, but they have really weird features. What we would consider here on Earth deformities, for them it's normal, it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
They have like long, like I would say it was like a long hair, but it's like a long horn. Weird features. And it seems like every time I go in there, I'm reverent, like almost like a warrior type of thing, because they always come to me as if there's a pressing issue that needs to be addressed and I need to help and stuff like that. And so I try not to go into those realities because I know I will work. It's funny, but yeah, that's how it feels like. So I mean, the times that I did venture out, just because out of my own curiosity, And I'm like, okay, let me see if I can do this. I'm bored. I haven't done this. Let me just try it. And so it's really easy for me to jump in from one reality to the next. It's something that I don't know. I didn't really study it. It just, I was born with it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go into meditative state and boom, I take off. And so I can be anywhere, anytime. And
Exactly.
yeah, and then that's what it feels like. So as soon as I arrive, it seems like it's like sent some form of radar or some, like, I don't know, something that it tells this person is in that area, or, you know, and it just feels weird because there's always somebody out that comes looking for me. Hey, we have this pressing situation and we need your input, or can you, and then they have like these weird, like sci-fi stuff that I have never seen in it before, so I can't really even describe what they are. You know, the technology is so far more advanced than ours, and it's like I'm like, what in the world? And if I were to trial anybody, I wouldn't even be able to because there's no words for it. So I try not to check that realm too much because I'm sure it's way more. They're way more ahead of us. So it's kind of hard to explain it, but it's fun. It is different, and it does help me appreciate my life here more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we're still babies here. We're still so immature almost, and we're still like just so behind almost. We're like the babies of the galaxies almost. So it is nice, and I do feel like there's more freedom when I'm in those realms because you can jump, you can fly, you can do all these things. We're not like so limited like we are here in the physical reality. So when I'm frustrated, I guess that's when I usually go, where I'm just like, I had enough of humans, and I'm like, you know what, fuck this world. I'm gonna just go check out over there. and, and that's when I do it. You know, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go over there and just have fun a little bit, and it is like it's so much fun for me. But of course, it's probably not fun for them because it's an everyday situation for them, right? And then
Right.
they wish they can come and do that. At least that's how they express it to me. They're like, you can do all this, you can go back, you can do this, and we're just here. And I'm just like, yeah, but you got so much more cool stuff to do, you know. And but they envy us, even though I think we should envy them. I think it's still weird where they still feel as if we have it good for some reason.
Yeah.
So
Do you feel like that's your body, or you're in a different being's body when you go
no, I still feel it's my body.
there?
I still
Okay.
feel everything. Yeah, I still feel every emotion, every feeling, every jump, every move. I can still feel it in my physical body. And then sometimes I wake up and I look at myself, and it's like almost as if that body dissolves in front of my, disintegrates in front of my eyes, and then I just start seeing my flesh. But before, like let's say if I'm a blue being at that time, and I wake up doing my, like I get out abruptly because that's just how I am. I abruptly get up and let's go, right? That's just my personality. And I don't give myself time to just ease into things. I just jump. I've seen it where like my flesh was like blue with some weird dots or whatever. And then it all of a sudden it starts uh, bleeding out, and then I see my flesh again. So it's kind of weird. But I see it in a material format. I don't know else to describe it. Like I see it live. It's not in a dream state. It is in a conscious state. And I don't know how to do it, so I wouldn't be able to teach anybody how to do it. I just know that that's how I function.
Well,
A little
you
bit
you
different.
already said how to do it. You said you were in meditative state when you got there.
Yeah, but when I get out, you know what I mean? Or when I jump from one reality to the other, like I don't know how. You know how when you wake up and then you start seeing your room and stuff.
Exactly.
Like for me, I don't immediately see the room. I see it as it starts bleeding out. Like all of a sudden, where I was, it's like almost a painting that somebody put water in, and it starts bleeding out. The color starts bleeding out, and then all of a sudden, it's like the water clears through, and then now you see your real walls. Where before, you know what I mean? You would
Yeah.
probably see the sky or the ocean or wherever you were at. It's that different for me. It doesn't look like all of a sudden you wake up, you open your eyes, and you're in your room. Mine bleeds out. Mine looks like something is materially manifesting. Like yeah, that's that's a good way to describe it. It's like as if it's in the moment, it's moving in front of you, right in front of you. All of a sudden, the walls are becoming a wall where they weren't walls before.
Awesome. For me, when I go into that sort of state, I breathe myself back into this reality. It's like a breath itself. Um,
Mm.
yeah. And I have to breathe like a couple of times to get all the way back into this reality. So it's really nice to hear that, like you're seeing it from a different perspective, like it's a reality bleeding through, and you're finding the frequency of this reality
Right.
opposed to that reality. That
Perfect description.
that's
Yes.
really awesome and amazing.
That's pretty. That's the best description I have ever heard. That's is exactly it. And
Yeah.
so, and when people used to say, well, how is it that you hear spirit? And it's like, you just kind of like, for me, it's like you tune in a channel. Like if you're a TV and you're just changing channels,
Yeah.
that's how it feels like for me. Like I don't do it often anymore. And thank God I found out how to turn it off. Yeah, it's like, my God, my life would have just been fucking pure hell. So I'm kind of glad that I don't have those issues anymore. Like I honestly, God, my life is so normal now. It's like 100,000% better. Because like I don't hear the chatter anymore. I don't hear everybody trying to talk at the same time. I don't hear people sending messages and trying to warn and give you advice unsolicited. It's like now
Well, it's more like you wanted to become part of this reality a little stronger, like solidify this reality. But for me, it was actually the opposite, where I was very solidified in this reality, and then I became connected to the spiritual realm, and all I wanted to connect to was the spiritual realm. I wanted to experience because I didn't get to experience those things before.
right, correct.
So it's really interesting how our stories are juxtaposed to each other. It's like opposite.
Yeah, complete opposite. So I had to teach how to turn it off, and you had to teach or learn how to tune it on. So
Exactly, because you were born with it. You knew about this world, the other realm first, and you stayed in it for your entire life until you decided, hey, I want to know what this world is like. So it's funny.
Exactly.
We're able to like choose which realm we want to be in or solidify into. Even though I have to stay in this realm because this is our reality. It's one of those things where when you're ready, you get to choose which frequency you want to be in.
Yeah, I've been waiting for years. The alien type of situation. We kind of just got out of it. I didn't get anything out of it, to be honest. Those type of realities was like, yeah, it was interesting at first and cool and everything, but I did not learn as much as I did from the dead. That's just the weirdest thing to say, but that's actually where I learned the most, is from other beings that were actual humans at some point. And that's where I learned the most, is through them. Then, all these well-talked aliens with, wonderful words and wisdom. I wasn't, I didn't feel as if I was learning anything that would help me in this reality. So that's why I kind of checked out in that situation.
Yeah.
But it is fun, especially when you want to break free from a I guess just a way of life, that you've embraced here. And I think it keeps you connected to spirit in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, but I do. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, Holly, are you okay? Because I saw her face. You're okay. I can't hear you. Your mic is off.
Just daydreaming, I guess. Mind wandering. Sorry, didn't know what my face was doing.
Oh, okay. No, I feel like, because you say you weren't learning much from the spiritual realm, Alex, but you've had a very long period of time of learning things from that realm before you decided to solidify here. And for
No,
me,
yeah,
it,
no, no, not the spirit world is what taught me. What I'm saying, the alien world. You know what I mean? Like the aliens itself. Like when we used to be in Kukalo.
oh, I see what you're
That yeah, those beings I did not learn from a lot. I mean, I learned from certain ones like Bashar and obviously Crab and those, but for the majority of them I didn't, and that's why I figured that was just not for me anymore. Like I
saying. Oh,
did it
okay.
for a while and that was great for the moment, but then after that it was like, okay, I gotta move on because I'm not growing spiritually.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, understood. For me, it was very exciting, just to perceive those worlds. Whether or not you learn anything, it's exciting to perceive them, to see it from their aspect and point of view, because it is so different from our physical reality here. Um, and it's just a different way of seeing the world, a different point of view. So yeah, Holly.
Yeah.
And
Was
what
I daydreaming again?
Yeah.
We must be really boring. Jesus.
No, goodness, no. It just makes me, listening to you guys talk just makes me think of other occurrences, my own experiences mulling around in my head.
Mhm.
I do had a, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but my mentor, Tots, formed a new group after the big earthquake in Croatia, where he lives. And it's a rather large group of all different kind of backgrounds, people, for just healing and connecting, basically. Not deep like us. But some of them are. But he had a healing session he did with them where privately, he has his divine soul partner too, so they work in unison naturally. And he said that, part of the team he called in to oversee the healing and the helping of all the people and extending out to all the world, I'm sure, was he called in Prime Creator and his brother. And I'm not used to thinking on those terms. And I said, brother, He said, yeah. He goes, I've at a perspective now, a higher perspective now, working in that realm where I enlist against the dark forces an aspect from that realm, which is essentially, he said, the dark PC. And I said, a dark PC? And it was like, duh, of course, right? Like, I just don't think that way. So naturally, as of late, I've had a few experiences where a being has come in to this new home and taken things through, and I visualized a portal. They just came in. It came in through a portal. It it took rings, it took all my gold rings, my 2 of my journals, and some medicine from Rob, which is odd things. But there was, and I could sense someone had been here, but it's not a human. It's not normal way. Anyway, so I'm thinking of this, as he's talking, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of like that concept of fight fire with fire, So I got really gutsy recently, and I kind of sat Rob down and I was like, okay, you're gonna channel. Earlier in the day, I kind of sent out a prayer in connection similar to what he did with the both of them at the same time for the highest good of all kind of thing. And then later I had Rob just channel him. Now this was like the first time ever I've basically, well, I can't say ever. I take that back. But it was interesting. The whole frequency was totally different from what I'm used to connecting with. Although still a creator being, he's still a PC, he's still.
When you say PC, what do you mean?
Prime creator.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure because.
And I know there's different prime creators. I mean, I've heard Alexandra Metters from galacticconnection.com. She deals with prime creator love number 5. That's how that particular fractal, so they have different fractals like us, same thing. So I had a conversation with this being, told him of what was happening and if he could help. And of course, the first thing out of his mouth, he just sort of sits back and he said, I'll entertain you. That was his greeting. I'll entertain you. Like, okay. So it was just strange. And I almost kind of was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I did shield and all that stuff before. But on the other hand, in this time we are in, it's like no holds barred.
No, because it depends on your own frequency and idea of what the reality you're choosing. So if you're already in a vibrational understanding of, I'm not sure about this being, it's going to be a little bit chaotic. You're going to feel a little bit
well, I held my power, I set the guidelines. And the conversation I had did not have any intention of harming another, no matter who or what they are.
But your vibration was saying that you wanted to be seen and heard in the vibration that you were in. So anything that can come,
like I wasn't,
will stay in the vibration that you're in. So it's interesting to me that being was saying, I'll entertain you, because
it was just a little snarky, just little. But I asked, I said, you're on that side, and I'm feeling they're also on that side, the ones who entered my house and invaded me. And I still, I'm not claiming me, mine. I'm just saying it's stuff. I'm not leaving this energetic back door open for anybody to enter.
It sounds like you're still dipping your toe into the other multi-dimensional realms and ideas. See, you still have concepts and ideas you're working through.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it could be very confusing when you come into a concept or idea that's very different from the reality that you've lived.
Right.
But you're still a little bit, is this okay? Is this not okay? Is this right? Is this wrong? That sort of mentality. And when you're in that mentality, it's very easy to become confused. And if you're confused in your vibrational stance, every other being that you're looking to talk to will
be affected by it.
And be affected by it, because guess whose reality it is? Still yours.
Okay.
So if you're trying to understand the vibrations and realities and concepts of energies being channeled at that time, if you're confused, the reality is just going to show you that.
Mirror back. Mirror
Exactly.
back. Okay.
So you have to begin to say, okay, I am open and I am willing to accept what comes to me, no matter what it looks like. Because you still have your walls up, you see. It's okay. But when you're dealing in a multidimensional realm, you're going to have reflections of who you are and what you're feeling, no matter who's channeling what through their own conduits. Okay? So you're going to have these reflections going on. And if they're a little bit scary or confusing because you're not used to it, automatically your mind says, put a wall up. Because you're not used to those frequencies or ideas. Now, when dealing with the multidimensional realm, you also have the concept of light and dark. You're not comfortable with that just yet. You're still seeing the juxtapositions of realities. One is good, one is bad. That's just what it is right now. But we as healers, we are to see beyond that sort of concept, because our role here is to find the neutral basis in everything to be the full-fledged healer. So no matter what energy comes at you, you're still standing in your own power, in your neutrality. So there's no fear, there's no confusion, there's no, this being says, oh, I'll entertain you, because you're in the fear concept of what the hell is this? Who am I talking to? What am I feeling? Like, why are they there? And you already had a nefarious idea of the being to begin with. So you're like, wait, wall. Before you can even talk, you already said, I don't know. I want to see, but I don't know. It's kind of like that feeling, right? So you're already in that vibrational stance before you even try to communicate.
Well, it's nice to know, at least for Tots, the two of them, he is working in tandem with them both for the highest good of all, which is
exactly just
really the first I'd heard of anything like that.
Exactly.
You know, where all is coming forward for the highest good from any perspective. So that's a biggie.
That is a biggie, because it takes a lot of courage to be in that mindset. Lots of courage, because we've been taught as humans to just fear things that we don't understand automatically. Like, I don't know who you are. Stand over there until I can figure it out.
Yeah, I've had a couple, but I'm getting better. A lot of my dark aspects are coming forward. You know,
because it's showing that they are a part of you. So don't stand in confusion. Stand in your strength and say, yes, you can be there, but so are my light aspects. They're there too.
Yeah.
All of them are looking to participate in this game of reality with you. So you have to be strong and say, I'm not going to be in fear when I see you. I'm going to be in strength when I see you. And do you have something to say to me? Are you going to teach me something?
Absolutely.
You might as well not be here, right?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely huge right now, is not only healing all aspects of ourself, primarily our inner child and all your subconscious traumas, being brought forward and healed and reclaimed. That's huge right now. And your dark aspects as well, acknowledging them, connecting, as it's been happening with me. When they come, it's to me acknowledge their existence, one, bring it to my attention, and then it's like we have this little exchange, like a little bit of me goes into them and a little bit of them goes into me, and then we go our separate ways. I may never see them again, but it's just this and it's healing too, it's and each one of those exchanges is actually diminishing that programmed fear within us all.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Because that's
Thank
the
you.
truth. That's what's happening.
Yeah. And not just with me, but I'm sure it's got to be with many others, whether they realize it or not.
Yes.
Hopefully.
They're coming to you for healing, and you're receiving them, and you're being healed of many of your thoughts and your dark aspects as well. So
particularly spiders. I actually had a soul fractal. I was doing a meditation for something. It's a really nice, simple one. It actually came from Magneta Pixie. Yeah, Magneta Pixie. And it involves going into this giant ultraviolet crystal pyramid. I changed it a little bit for me, but I can't remember why I originally went, but when I first, imagine this platform in the center, and all of a sudden I feel a presence, and I look up, where it has the big crystal point. I look up, and there's this giant white spider up there. This big white spider. And it just comes down and settles right in front of me, and I was like, okay, and I've had at least 4 interactions with it in different varying degrees so far, and that's when I discovered it was a male, but it was a soul fractal too, currently alive in its planet, and it was pretty neat to hear about a little bit about their system. They have a queen, they have like a royal court kind of thing. I'm thinking it, I don't know. It was just interesting. but those, and it has healing. I mean, now when I see a spider, I don't think the same way I used to. And so I know it's working. And just in my normal 3D self, when I see one, I'm like, I might still kill it, but but I'm not afraid of it. I still have that knee jerk, like, I mean, not fear, but it's like, not near me. Just like,
no more
I probably have to stop that.
No more watching the horror movies about spiders.
Oh goodness, no, I don't watch those at all. I stopped all that years ago. But it's changing me. Like the other day, a wasp got into the house, and I was like, oh, bee, get it, But it I think it fell down a heating vent or something, It didn't die. It came back out, and then by then I'm like, okay, I'll just scoop you up and put you outside. I'll be, send it healing and put it out, So I'm finding I'm doing that more and more with the little buggies and things I find in the house. I just put outside.
Yeah.
So I'm evolving.
Yeah. I had a similar experience. One day I was in meditation, and this big old spider is on my ceiling. It's a blue and black spider, and they said it was a black widow. Most of the body was blue, and then you had black areas. and that sucker could have been like 8 feet 8 feet big.
Oh,
I looked up and I said, "Hey, how you doing?"
and what did it say?
Well, it looked back at me and it telepathically communicated with me. So I was just like, "Oh, hi."
Oh,
What are you
good.
doing here? How can I help you?
There you go. That's a perfect way, like I did with the buck. When you have this experiences, that's a perfect thing to say. Hi, I'm Holly. How may I assist you?
Exactly.
I think that would be the perfect greeting these days. Because
Yeah.
evidently, they're just not. I mean, I would imagine it's less common just to come and gawk at you. So you're typically there for a reason,
They're there for a reason.
message or otherwise.
Exactly. So it's interesting when you get into those meditative states and then you see the vision of them and you say, "Hey."
Well, even more so when you feel them in your physical body, at the same time, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like once I was meditating and I don't even know what I was doing at the time, but I'm sure it's logged somewhere. I was thinking of this island off of Croatia, which is a dragon island. It's Hvar, Kvar. And it's always been, dragons live there, ruled there since its creation. Hvar. So I must have been thinking of that, and its essence, the land itself, came to me. And literally at the end of it, and it's of course surrounded by ocean, it breathed on me in my Reiki room. All of a sudden, I don't smell my room anymore. My hair's, kind of going back, and this pine trees and ocean air, it like breathed its essence all over me physically,
Yeah.
which was so amazing. And I smelled it and felt it, and the warmth and the ocean. And I have the one place I've just got to go is Croatia and Hvar. It wants me to come there really a lot. It's called to me a number of times so far.
Well, it's telling you gotta go and visit. That's for
It
sure.
does. Yep, actually said that. So at some point I'll make it over there.
Yeah. I had a similar experience when uh before I went to Bali. I would see Bali videos on YouTube or something, and I would begin crying, like very emotional crying.
Yeah.
And I said, "My heart's in Bali. I have to go to Bali."
So you have this, that's why you went.
That's
Okay.
why I went.
How long did you go for?
Well, the first time I went for 6 weeks. The second time I went for 4 months.
Wow.
And it was because I had to do a lot of healing for the land
Awesome.
and the people, but mostly the land itself. So I was adamant that I was going, and the universe helped me out in that aspect. And I was just like, I guess I'm going. So,
Awesome.
so I had a
Oh,
wonderful
wonderful.
time there, but I spent a lot of time resting and meditating and meeting people in that reality. And I found that I learned how to just be there,
Ah,
just being. Not I have to go do this, I have to go do that, I have to go
that is definitely a skill.
being. And my feet will always lead me to where I needed to go. I never had a plan in the morning. It was just, okay, time to get up and walk. And I would always meet the people I needed to meet for that day. They were looking for me. I didn't know I was looking for them.
Oh, isn't that cool?
So
Awesome.
it was a learning experience for me. I had never just flowed in my reality like that before. So it was a good
Oh,
experience.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Something you'll never forget.
I'll never forget it. So I think you definitely need to go.
Yes, that and Greece while I'm over there. Greece isn't too far off.
Yeah,
I've got to go back there too.
yeah. Oh,
Connect with my ancient. I am part of the Greek gods pantheon
we
as
all
well. Yes, we're all everything. I'm just saying I not too long ago discovered a few different aspects of my existence.
yeah.
So I can't say they're the nicest group. I've had more trouble from them than,
Any other group?
well, one of them. Anyway.
Okay.
Not as bad as the Anunnaki and all that stuff, but
Well, remember, a lot of us who are awakened, we're part of the Anu pantheon. So
I haven't delved into that yet. No.
yeah,
I
it,
did find out my one reptilian existence. I remember an ex-friend of mine who's removed herself. I had made a comment about reptilian when I was having lots of issues. She goes, you were reptilian at some point too. And I was like, okay. So I delved on that, and I was shown my short existence. It was actually a hybrid. I'm trying to remember. It was like a science ship, and they were full of scientists and biologists and that kind of team. And one of the team members was full on reptilian, and one of them was like Octurian or something like that. And they like fell in love and they wanted to procreate and they couldn't, so they made one in the lab. And that was me. I didn't live very long, but like 12 years maybe. That was it. It was a very short life, but it was interesting, to find out what she was talking about. I do my own adventures.
exactly. And that's how you should always take care of it. When people can give you an idea and say who you are, but it's for you to actually figure out who that being or who you are for yourself. I don't tend to agree with other people telling me who I am.
Yeah. It was just not specifically, it was just like you have part of that in you,
Yeah,
basically, just really general.
yeah. And you may have gone through that aspect just to see what it was to be in that vibrational understanding. So it's wonderful that we have the concept of we can connect to any frequency or live out any type of lifetime to learn what it is to be that being or that being this species, that species. We're able to connect in a very universal way with just our consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So we can live out different lifetimes as that conscious being. Um, and it's nice when you can remember that you've done so.
Yes, it is. It's an interesting one. It was evidently at some point a lot of my soul fractal. I'm not sure of how the concept of it, but they were like sold. And at one point they were brought back all at once. and it all started with I was going to journey for something, and that's my way of meditating, is shamanic journeying. And I got to my space, I entered where I was going, and out of the distance came this, I got the word kraken, a giant squid, a giant squid, but that was the word, and it was just coming at me, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not expecting this, you know. And it was a female, and it just said, "Be still, do not fear, I am you." And it came around the back, and like two of its tentacles went right into my sides right there, like on either side of my heart. And it didn't hurt, but I felt it went in my body. And then it just like plugged in, and then this huge, just wave after wave of beings just came into my body. And I understood they were being returned. They were taken at some point, and now were being returned so I could be more functional. I needed those. And I couldn't even describe some of them. I mean, they were beyond description. And then they just came so fast I couldn't even, they were just a blur of, you know, coming in for quite a while, like 20 minutes at least.
And those were all your fractals.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back to your awareness.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Because you have released them for a time because you needed to live in this reality for a time and not be confused about them.
Evidently.
You have to learn how to be human first, and then you can accept them.
Very good point. Very good point.
Learn how to be human first.
Mm-hmm. But I think now, you know, with all the changes, the frequency shifts, and all the differences in our human bodies, I mean, they weren't what they used to be, you know, and the frequency is so much higher now that we're able to assimilate all that back into us again.
Exactly.
We're becoming way more whole. Our soul is just coming together in all new frequency levels.
Yeah. So just fly the rave of the new frequencies. Yeah.
Yep, it's a good evidence of that occurrence.
Lovely. Alex and Dan, do you want to comment to anything?
No, the only thing I want to comment on is how weak your audio is right now. I've been having trouble hearing you for the last 20 minutes or so. I don't know why. Your signal's been going up and down. It's not your fault, I don't think. It's just signal stuff.
Oh, Holly seems to have been hearing me just fine.
I don't know how well she's hearing you. If a car goes by here, it takes you out. And I have you in stereo.
Okay.
You're pretty weak. Right now you're better, but you come up close to the machine, and then I can hear you better. We really need to, anyway, we'll talk about that later. So no, but otherwise I don't have anything to add. No, go ahead.
Okay. Alex, did you hear anything you wanted to comment on? Oh, maybe she's not there. All right. So yeah, I love when I hear that you have accepted many aspects all at one time. It's like the juggernaut of the downloads of all those different aspects and beings, like, oh, it's time. Come back to me now. I love that. I've had many experiences similar to that too. So yeah.
Currently I had just started going into my subconscious to heal all those traumatized soul fractals of childhood, this life and all others. I'm just kind of doing it on the whole, and I'm just starting that.
Oh, well.
So
a lot to learn about yourself.
Mm-hmm. all the things that I don't remember because they were hiding in the subconscious. So yeah,
Well, in
that's
the
the
DNA,
latest ventures.
they're in your DNA. You're just accepting who you are. That's all it is. You had a question about data mapping.
Yes, actually. It just came to mind, and I thought to ask Dan about it because he was a part of, the human colonies for a good line, or you, whoever would like. Um,
You're
I
talking about in the physical realm, in this reality, or the multidimensional realm?
Wherever they are, the human colonies on the ship, they came and took blood. Well, we had a session. I introduced Rob there. I felt he would be of benefit to know them and Jim. And they took samples then. We offered. Um, but then, like a month later, they took more in my sleep. I'm like, those look like needle punctures, right? On both arms. Not all at the same time. It was one and the other, but I had recalled the head medical officer, at least at one time, was to pay, I guess. But anyways, I had Rob channel her and ask her were they the ones that did it, because they didn't ask me. I had to figure it out. And she said that's what they were doing. They ran out of the sample and found my blood interesting, and they wanted to do a data mapping and needed more. And I didn't even think to ask what is that. I kind of thought genealogy, or I don't know what, and she mentioned it was ancient. So that's all I knew. So I just wondered if you had any knowledge of exactly what that was that they were doing.
Well, from that term, the first thing I get is what we do here with that data mapping or DNA sequencing.
Oh,
Try to
so
figure
just
out what the DNA, what is the role of certain DNA uh, pieces or uh, information or anything that is uh, genetic. We try to figure out what is the gene code.
mm,
And we have to understand, as humans, we have, well, awakened humans, uh, a lot of our genes and DNA, they're awakening. And we
and
all,
changing our DNA, I get.
well, not just changing, because the information and sequencing was always there. We just didn't understand that it was there. So it's not being changed, but our awareness or consciousness of what's there is changing. So what's happening is, we were taught about the double helix, right? And now all of a sudden we're learning about many other strands or bands of DNA that are awakening within us. That's because they were already there. They were just dormant. You have some spiritual leaders who are saying there are 12 strands of DNA. And we've only located scientifically, for the most part, as a collective, we have agreed that there were two. Okay. But now, as people are becoming spiritually aware of themselves, a lot of people are saying there are 12. So, what's in those other strands of DNA that's awakening at this time? Information, understanding of frequencies, understanding distance, space, and time, understanding, you know, fractals and other realities or other lives that we've lived, or different species or things of that nature, or different codings for different star systems and things of that nature. So basically, you would be doing gene mapping, data mapping.
Okay.
Data is just information. Okay. So when you say data mapping, that's what I get.
Okay. I just hadn't heard that term before. Didn't know what it meant really. So that makes sense.
I mean, the person you were talking to may have had a different idea about data mapping, but when someone tells me about data mapping, I think of sequencing, understanding which sequence go to which, where this life form came from, and things of that nature. We as humans have lots of gene codes.
I would imagine.
Earth and from other planets, star systems. We
Mm-hmm.
truly do. And our consciousness is awakening to that every day. We're becoming more aware and more accepting of who we are as a species. And it's not just one species, it's multiple species.
Absolutely.
And so we're learning who we are by opening different aspects of our DNA, ones that we weren't aware of before. Information. So you say, where did this information come from? How do I know this? Because it's in my DNA.
Gotcha.
And I'm learning.
So a lot of our memories are stored there then too.
Exactly.
Not only from this life, but others.
Exactly.
But I feel we have other areas, not to change the subject, but I think, wouldn't our chakras hold memories and our auric fields hold memories as well as our brain, our physical brain?
Yes.
So all those aspects hold different memories.
Exactly.
And often interchange. Okay, I answered my own question.
There you go. There you go.
I love that when that happens.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, you know, one day you think you're just a human, and the next day you say, "Oh my God, I'm an animal. I'm an alien. I'm a." You come up with all sorts of things because you're remembering now.
Yes, yes. It's thrilling. I mean, it's like a kid in a candy store. You know, it's
Exactly.
like, oh, this is just like, tell me
What's
more. You know, and I bug. I mean, if I ever do connect with other beings, they're like, oh God, she's here again. You know, it's just like, I didn't mean to say God, but
No, you can
you
say
know,
God.
it's just like never just nonstop questions. I mean, that's what I'm known for, evidently, and they tease me about it. It's just like I bug whoever I get a hold of. Is like, you just a zillion questions.
You are a kid in the candy store right now, and the candy store is you.
Okay? Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's so many new things to remember and understand about that you weren't taught before. And so, what do children do?
They constantly ask questions. Yeah,
And we
that's exactly me.
to see what information we can learn.
Right.
Look it up like children. I mean,
Yeah, until your brain shuts down and it's like, okay, I'm all good today. I'll never forget when we first got here, poor Rob, he would just, like 3 different times, he would just have this spontaneous vomiting, just like out of nowhere. And I was really getting kind of worried. I mean, I could not pinpoint anything that would be causing it at all. And I even had that happen to me once or twice too, since I got here. And one evening after poor baby was done getting sick, you know, I was like, I know you don't feel like it, but I'm gonna go, I need you to channel somebody, maybe they can answer what's going on. So what came to mind was PC, Prime Creator. So I just sort of stirred him up. I'm like, and Prime Creator, it came, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Oh, what do you want now?" Like I just do nothing but pester him with questions, and it almost made me mad. I'm like, now listen here, I've only talked to you 3 times that I can remember, and I'm pestering you. What are other aspects of me pestering you all at the same time? I mean, what's, this is me. This is me talking to you. I don't know what my other me's are doing. So, take your attitude elsewhere.
No, it's just you when you're.
But he had said that once we got together, more physical, that there was such a huge frequency shift in the area that his body just couldn't deal, like caused this purging. It was such a quick shift there that it just purged. There's no other way to get it out fast enough.
Okay.
So that's what he said. It was his body wasn't able to assimilate the frequency shift.
Yeah, that could be a little bit disconcerting.
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore, thank goodness. Not
but if you're constantly channeling and you're not grounded, you see, you have to understand the human body, for the most part, we have forgotten how to switch frequencies so quickly. The human body's not used to it. It hasn't been used to it for the last, 5,000 years?
Yes.
Okay. And so all of a sudden, we're using portions of our DNA that we haven't used in a long time. And it's going to get your body needs time to familiarize itself with, 1, the concept. 2, this is who you are now. This is a capability. So your body's changing. It's going to change. And there are some things that have to purge in order for you to be able to accept all of these new frequencies within it. So yeah, it's very, you're kind of like a blob moving into the different frequencies of who you are, and your body's like, let me catch up.
Yes, exactly.
You have to ground. If he's not taking the time to ground, he needs to.
I will remind both of us to do that.
Exactly.
So oftentimes our minds are like way up there, that you just forget you've got this anchor to deal with still, you just forget. I forget. I get so excited to be up there, I forget about the body needing.
Yes. And connecting with nature will help you to ground it. Ground yourself, ground those realities into this body, because this body's not used to it until you ground.
Yes, right. Indeed.
So yes. I think that was a very good event.
Absolutely.
Good conversation.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Alex. And
yes,
the other person, I don't remember the name. But bless you. Speaking of that, shall we do a little blessing, and then we'll do.
You could do a little blessing, and I'll do one as well.
Okay.
And wrap things up here.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna grab my crystals and connect to something different. So.
Lovely.
Seeking one of my very high dimensional soul fractals to give a blessing to all that hear this video. Jiakja sakaja aisiki Atuniatsa ikalina masashekia antasia kiasha siani kiasha namakasa antahikia sodutia shakarama akatsai kiasha si ansia sununuzia anarma akacha sariana sayakachuna asarama ai. Blessings to all. Namaste.
Namaste. Sianiro tu. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Sianiro tu. Gaia isi. Poratai sini. Uhaya. Hakia sukotaini. Garaniro tu kora shiratana. Ikalana Yeshua. Hialatila yuru tu kushila. Yanyenekila ku hi siki enuko. Hahiasa hiniruto. Kaire te kaini purata hi. Kiasila hi hui shine ya. Koshayaini kuratai. Kaina kuchi iti he sukura. Biaya ho alaiti. Koini rotai anai oshai. Kailai tu shialai. Koyanai kolai tui. Ha sili tu koila. Hayoko maiti. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, everyone, on YouTube land or Facebook land or any land on the internet. We enjoyed having you. We enjoy giving you our stories and sharing our conversations. And please come and join us. We have events on Tuesday and Thursdays at 1:11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So I welcome all of you to join us at this time. And if you just, want to socialize, come enjoy. Tell us your stories. Nothing is too out of bounds here. So much love to you all. Namaste.